Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Tuesday morning to you all. I hope you guys are having a great start to your day, great start to your work week, getting up, getting at it, and just feeling great this morning. Hopefully, that's the case for all of you guys. Got you an update on what's going to happen in the weather world specifically for today, your May 24th, and we're just going to talk about a few things this morning. A lot of the South will be under the gun today with severe weather, especially areas of the South Central U.S., the Southern Plains, like areas of Eastern Texas, a section of Louisiana and Arkansas. So we're really going to focus in on that, but talk about everybody as a whole, as we always do. I want to mention, have not yet a chance to look at the comments from last night's video. So if you're wondering why it hasn't been answered, well, we had a late night last night. Well, not a late night. We were just up all night. One of our little girls were coughing all night. So she's just going through this little thing where she's coughing really bad at night, but then during the day, she's perfectly fine, which kind of happened to our oldest little girl too. But definitely prayers are appreciated with that. She's still fighting a little bit of a cold. So, but anyways, if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rolling. Storm Prediction Center today. Huge slight risk, right? Pretty much covering up almost half of Texas, and Texas is a pretty large state, so half of Texas is basically two entire states for others. So this is really stretching from a very small section of New Mexico all the way through areas of northwest Louisiana and then southwest Arkansas. The tornado threat with this will be the highest right in this region right here, where you got a 5% risk of a tornado in 25 miles of any given point. And this huge section of northeast Texas, including Dallas, and then southwest Arkansas, northwest Louisiana, including Shreveport, and then southeast Oklahoma. There's going to be multiple complexes of storms today, and we'll talk about that here in a second. There's also a chance for a tornado, very isolated, but it could happen in eastern North Carolina, as you still have the remnants of that low pressure still scooting by, and this will create some lift and some backing of some winds, and could create a very low-end tornado threat, 2% risk. Some storms will definitely pop off in this region today of North Carolina, but in general, marginal risk stretching all the way from New Mexico all the way through northeast and North Carolina. Wind threat is there, hail threat is there, but not really, that large of a deal as of right now. The hail threat will be bigger, more of a bigger deal here in Texas. And then the wind threat will be a bigger deal here in Texas also, where you have that slight risk. But we take a look at what's going on in water vapor loop. You got a big area of convection, which we kind of knew was going to happen here in Oklahoma, areas of northern Texas, as the remnants of what happened yesterday in western Texas. I would say it was the tornado of the year. The few storm chasers that decided to chase that area definitely got the tornado of the year. It was a big old dusty wedge type tornado just outside of Lubbock, and I tell you what, it was a monster. I retweeted multiple videos and pictures of it on my Twitter, and I tell you, it was a beauty, and it was just out in the middle of nowhere. It really wasn't causing any damage. The most damage it might have been causing was to crops or anything, but really, I mean, it might have knocked down some power poles, but it was just a huge tornado, massive supercell storm. And yeah, we're hoping that does not happen today, because if it happens today, it'll be more of a heavily populated area. So let's hope it doesn't happen. But you got ongoing convection, like I said, in Oklahoma. And then you got an area of showers and storms that are kind of diminishing in areas of Alabama and Mississippi. But if you look at what's going on in Oklahoma, you got some flooding ongoing. These little squiggly lines, that is basically where it's saying that there's some flooding ongoing. So, that's why they have basically the chance for flash flooding up, which I'm about to show you. There's a little couple reports of hail also, so a lot of heavy rain ongoing in Oklahoma City this morning. And then the risk of flooding still occurring between now and Wednesday morning is there's a slight risk, which means there's at least a 15% risk of flash flood guidance occurring in 25 miles in any given location in this yellow area. And then you also got that slight risk over here too. So, flash flood guidance means whatever it is for your specific location. It all really depends on how much rain you got lately when it comes down to it. So you guys in Arkansas, Oklahoma have definitely seen a lot of rain the last several weeks. So flash flooding is easily maintained. Even when you just get an inch of rain, that can cause flash flooding for certain areas. So that'll be a threat today that really isn't talked about as much. So please be careful in this region today. Let's take a look at the HRRR model, how this could unfold today. We're going to start this off around mid to late morning. This ongoing area of convection continues through Oklahoma, but I want you to watch this. There's going to be multiple areas that your eyes are going to go to. There's going to be multiple complex of storms. You got one ongoing in areas of Alabama, potentially in Mississippi, and then you got one area riding out the Gulf of Mexico. It's all associated with this relatively southerly flow from this low pressure and this upper mid trough that's yanking low-level moisture and at the surface, bringing showers and storms and very humid air to the surface. Therefore, you're getting a lot of, showers and storms. And this continues. And, you got this complex of storms riding through northeast Oklahoma, getting into southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. Then you got this complex of storms in areas of Louisiana that could be rather intense. And then look at this little weird Boeing segment of storms right here riding through areas of northern Alabama, then reaching southern Tennessee as we get into the later afternoon hours. And you just got in general pop-up showers and storms. And anything that develops here in this region will have the highest tornado chances basically in this region, where you got a little bit of shear and just that low-level jet in place. Not much, but it's just basically where your best overlapping dynamics could occur that could promote a little bit of a tornado threat in this region. Even though it's only 5% risk, that's still it's pretty large 5% risk, and it's just telling you that, hey, there's going to be a lot of areas to watch. This area riding out of New Mexico into the western areas of Texas, and then eventually some of these will congeal together, and maybe later tonight into this evening you could have a big time line of storms tracking through areas of Dallas-Fort Worth, and then maybe through areas of central to eastern Texas later tonight. But definitely an active day across this entire portion of the country. Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, you guys could see on and off showers and storms, and any of them can be strong to severe or could produce a quick tornado. It's a little bit more heavily populated areas than this out here was from last night, so please be careful. And really some response to this area of this upper trough that's kind of yanking up all this low-level moisture. So you got dew points down here well into the upper 60s and close to 70 and 70 for certain areas. So plenty of moisture, plenty of juice to the atmosphere to really fire up these showers and storms in this region. And it's problematic because you got a flood risk too in response to all this moisture in the atmosphere. And then you got the Cape, at the surface and at the mid-levels, you got Cape values reaching well above 2,000 joules per kilogram, especially at the surface. So a lot of juice to the atmosphere in response to those higher end dew points like we always talk about, so please be careful. And like I said, tornado threat's kind of the highest right into here, including areas of Arkansas and Louisiana, but a larger portion of Texas, which does include Dallas-Fort Worth. So you got a lot of fuel to these storms in the atmosphere, what we call Cape. Convective available potential is out there for sure. So we look at the southeast, what could happen? Well, I think the storm coverage will probably be the highest in Alabama and Mississippi, maybe getting into Tennessee into the evening hours. And then watch this cluster of storms in far eastern areas of North Carolina. This could produce a quick tornado and could produce some strong to severe storms. So please watch out if you're in extreme eastern, the eastern plains. Probably you might not get any storms in areas like Raleigh, but maybe, well east of Raleigh, more towards the coast and the Outer Banks and things like that. You guys could definitely see some nasty storms a little bit later this afternoon and evening. But South Carolina, maybe Georgia, it might be a little bit more of a quieter day. Some showers and storms could pop up just off the coastline here in South Carolina. But other than that, I think South Carolina in general will be a lot more quiet today than it was yesterday, which was very active in the weather world yesterday. But as far as the entire eastern U.S., I think you'll have some rain-cooled air here in Virginia, the Delmarva area, Maryland, Delaware, the Delmarva area. Pretty much said the Delmarva area, then named off every state in that area. But rain-cooled air for sure in this region of the country today. So the temperatures will probably be limited as far as how high they get. But everybody else, probably some rain, more of a steady rain into areas of northern Kansas, in response of all this energy north of this low pressure, where you got more just rain cooled air, and then some rain making its way into Iowa a little bit later today and this evening. But maybe some showers in New York State. Other than that, all the activity will be mainly to the south for sure. Temperatures today, you got that rain cooled pocket of air right here of like Washington D.C., northern VA, areas of eastern West Virginia, southern PA, the Delmarva area, where temperatures might struggle to get to 60 degrees a day. So a pretty cool May day, but you see how this is kind of spotty in nature. It's pretty much pinpointing where showers and storms could pop up. But I think in general, and everybody in the deep south and the south in general, and probably all the way up into the mid-south, will warm into the 80s today. Some areas will hit 90 degrees where storm development doesn't initially occur. But a nice warm day here in the 70s in the Ohio Valley, and a pretty comfortable day here in the Northeast where you're not influenced by clouds and rain cover. But the flow coming in off the cooler ocean will keep areas like Boston probably a little cooler today. The immediate Boston area probably stuck in the 50s. But I tell you what, it's warming up really nicely in the Great Lakes region, in the northern part of the country, up here in the north central U.S., and the northern plains, the Midwest. Well, temperatures will skyrocket into the 60s and 70s today. So a very comfortable spring-like day in this region of the country, the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Even my guy up there in northern Michigan will be very comfortable today into the 60s and maybe 70 degrees for sure. Out west, pretty quiet. Some energy popping off here in Wyoming, so a little bit of rain, some snow showers for the very higher elevations. But in general, nothing too crazy. A little bit of light rain in Washington State, but nothing too crazy going on. No real big systems coming in off the Pacific. But it's going to be cooler than average, kind of in this area of the country in response to maybe some cloud cover and some moisture in the area. So only 50s and 40s, maybe 60s. It just all depends on elevation. Remember, everything's elevation dependent up out here. So it's really hard to figure out who's going to see what, because you never know who's sitting at 2,000 feet or who's sitting at 10,000 feet. So it's always very different out here in Montana. And the plains, you guys will be into the 60s and 70s a day, very comfortable day. And then if you the further east you go in Wyoming, the warmer you are into the 60s. But it'll be pretty warm in the extreme southwest. In California, it'll be very, very warm today. You guys will warm up, especially in the valleys, well into the 90s. So very comfortable today. But that's all I got, guys. I'll have you all video this evening. We'll figure out something to talk about. It's getting kind of that year where you kind of struggle to pinpoint a topic. But thank you all for tuning in this morning. You'll have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all this evening.